Oh hey gents, this is Noah from Noah's Archetypes, and today we'll be looking at some of the new fossil fusion monsters that just got revealed, the fossil machines. But before that, we'll look at one card that was revealed a little bit earlier in this week, and that is Shell Knight. This is a Earth level 4 rock effect monster with 0 attack and 2000 defense. And it says when this card is normal summoned, you can change this card to defense position, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. If this card is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add one level 8 rock monster from your deck to your hand, or if Fossil Fusion is in your graveyard, you can special summon it instead. Also, in either case, you cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with the same name as that card for the rest of this turn. You can only use this effect of Shell Knight once per turn. Okay, so the first thing is, this card switches itself to defense position, which is a very good effect, and it inflicts 500 damage when doing so. And then, if this card is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you'll be able to add a level 8 rock monster from your deck to your hand or special summon it. The problem is there aren't any good targets to special summon from the deck that are level 8 rock monsters. So the best option is to add them to the hand, because a lot of them cannot even be special summoned except by their own effect, and others need to be tribute summoned in order for the effects to apply. So the best option is to then add them to your hand, and you anyway can't use the effects that turn. So there are quite a few rock support cards that will send rock monsters to the graveyard to inflict damage to your opponent, and that fits in well with Shell Knight's theme. And there aren't that many good options for level 8 rock monsters to special summon at the moment, but you could add them to the hand to use in a later turn. And since they can always later on add more level 8 rock monsters that have good effects, this card could in future be even better. And since you only need the Fossil Fusion to be in the graveyard to special summon it, if you just need to add it to the hand, then this card will work in those other future rock themed decks. Next up, we have our first fossil machine monster, Fossil Machine Skull Buggy. And this is an Earth level 4 rock fusion effect monster with 1400 attack and 1200 defense. It requires one rock monster in your graveyard plus one level 4 lower monster. Must first be fusion summoned with Fossil Fusion. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict 600 damage to your opponent. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add one monster that specifically lists Fossil Fusion in its text from your deck to your hand, and you can only use this effect of this card once per turn. Okay, so this is the final level 4 Fossil Fusion monster, and they all have a similar theme running through them. For example, Fossil Dragon Skullgar allows you to add Fossil Fusion from your deck to your hand when banished, and Fossil Warrior Skullbone allows you to add Time Stream from your deck to your hand, whereas this card allows you to add a card that has Fossil Fusion in its card text from your deck to your hand. One of the things that I think that the Fossil Fusion archetype still needs is a main deck monster that can send one of the Fossil Fusions that are level 4 to the graveyard from the extra deck. That way you can get some of these cards that you might need from the deck to the hand by banishing them, since it might be a little bit of a waste to first fusion summon one of these cards and then wait till they get sent to the graveyard in order to summon one of your other cards. So this is why I think it's best if one of these cards in the main deck sends these cards to the graveyard. That way you can focus on getting some of your higher level Fossil Fusion monsters onto the field, since these ones are only specifically made to add cards from the deck to the hand, and they're not that strong, so you're not going to use them for much of your main plays anyway. Next up, we have Fossil Machine Skull Wagon, Earth level 6 rock fusion effect monster with 1700 attack and 1500 defense. It requires one rock monster in your graveyard and one level 5 or 6 monster. Must first be special summoned with Fossil Fusion. This card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict 800 damage to your opponent. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target once with a trap on the field, destroy it. You can only use this effect of Fossil Fusion Skull Wagon once per turn. Okay, so this card is similar to its level 6 counterpart, Fossil Warrior Skull Knight, in that when it's in the graveyard you can banish it to destroy a card on the field, but in this case it destroys a spell or trap card, where Skull Knight destroys a monster. But Skull Knight does target the monster, so that is I think the only problem that I have with this card. But either way, I think it's an okay effect. But these fossil machines are all very low in level. So even though the effects are decent, the biggest problem is the attack strength. And our final card to review is our level 8 Fossil Machine Skull Convoy, which is an Earth Monster Rock Fusion effect with 2100 attack and 1800 defense. It requires 1 rock monster in your graveyard plus 1 level 7 or higher monster. Must first be special summoned with Fossil Fusion. While you control this fusion summon card, all monsters your opponent control lose attack equal to their own original defense. This card can make up to 3 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. Okay, I like this card's effects because if it's fusion summoned, it decreases the monster's attack by the defense. Since its attack is not high itself, this is a very beneficial effect. So you can destroy any monster your opponent has except link monsters. The other thing is it can make 3 attacks, and none of the other Fossil Fusion monsters can make that many attacks. And when it inflicts battle damage, 1000 damage is inflicted as well. So you are doing a lot of damage. Since this card also does decrease the attack of the monster, you will probably be doing a lot of damage by summoning this card. So my only problem with these cards is that there's no protection for any of them. But I do know that the character Jump Crocodile Cook did play a field spell called Sacred Defense Barrier, and I think it does protect rock monsters or something like that. But maybe if they make this into a OCG TCG card, it will have a protection for the Fossil Fusion monsters specifically, and hopefully it will have a effect that requires Fossil Fusion to be in the graveyard to give you a bonus. If it does, then some of these cards will be able to search it out, and that will, I think, tie all these cards together. But until then, we don't know how well these cards will do until they release some of the other main deck spell and trap support. But anyway, what do you guys think of these Fossil Fusion monsters? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Away.